Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are coming in from the world. Welcome to Unshackled with Tash. And as usual, I'm so excited to have you all here today to listen to one of my amazing guest speakers. I hope you got a lot from last week's guest speaker and from the other sessions that you've been listening to within the podcast. I know that a lot of people have reached out since Hayley visited this site and have had a lot of interaction. Today's guest speaker is going to absolutely blow your minds. And before I go any further, I would love for everyone to welcome beautiful Wendy Jones. Welcome, Wendy, to Unshackled with Tash.
Thank you, Tash. It's lovely to be here.
It's great to have you here. Now, guys, Wendy is an animal communicator / interpreter. Now, how I met Wendy, and the reason I loved this topic is because I know so many people who believe that their animals are the most amazing thing in their world. They're their babies. And everybody that knows me knows that I've got beautiful 3 children and grandchildren, but Max, my Rottweiler, is my world. So when I was at a networking event a few months ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Wendy's son. And he straight away said, "You need to talk to my mum." And I think it was within 24, 48 hours, Wendy, is that correct?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
contacted me?
yeah.
And we knew from the second we spoke, we had so much in common because, guys, everyone knows I'm about consciousness, energy, breaking patterns. Our animals have the same aura and energy fields as we do. And when I say the same, I'm saying they have energy fields and they have communication and they have feelings and they have all these things that Wendy's going to share with us. So what I'm going to do is ask Wendy some questions. She's going to answer them. I'm also at the end of this going to give Wendy's information so that anybody that would like to connect or contact Wendy to have any work done with their pets. And Wendy does earth side and past pets. So she does a lot of stuff, which she is about to come and tell you. So Wendy, what an amazing career you have. Like, that is beautiful to be able to work with animals.
It is. And I love it. I mean, it's not what I've always done.
No.
But I do enjoy it very much.
Tell me, how did you get started? How did you get started in this line of work, and how did you know that you could communicate with animals without thinking you were going mad?
Yeah, I did think I was going mad for a little while. I actually knew a lady who was an animal communicator.
Wow.
I met her probably, I don't know, a bit more than 20 years ago. And she was amazing. And she helped me so much and so many times. You know, you have dogs and you have cats and you have horses and, you know, different things happen. And she was wonderful. And I used to think, oh, you know, if only I could do that, that would be amazing. Anyway, we had some horses that I knew when I spoke to them, I knew they understood. You know, you just knew that they knew what you were saying and understood. They didn't always do what you wanted because, you know, they don't always, but they understood. Anyway, I was feeding the horses one day and we had a mare who had hurt herself. And it was one of those things, they weren't quite sure what it was. There was nothing obvious to see, but she was quite lame. And she got better and then she hurt herself again. And then she didn't get better. And we had her in the paddock and we looked after her, but she wasn't happy. And we knew she wasn't happy and we didn't want to have to make a choice about her future. And it was just, yeah, it was just there. She was there and, you know, anyway, feeding her and a mate. And she told me that she was going to die.
Wow.
I just kind of, you know, it wasn't something I heard. It was something I just knew. And I know now that look. It's different. And I thought, oh, you know, don't be ridiculous. You can't hear what they're saying. You know, don't be so silly. And then I said to her, look, I don't know, but if you are going to pass, please don't take your mate with you, you know. And, I thought no more about it. That was it. Didn't think of it. And then a few weeks later, it was actually New Year's Eve in 2016. We had this lovely storm at night. It was wonderful, lovely rain. And then the storm had gone, it had stopped raining, and there was this funny lightning strike out the back of the storm that hit, around our place somewhere. Didn't think anything of it. And we got up in the morning and that mare had been struck by lightning and she hadn't passed away, but we had to euthanize her.
Oh,
And her paddock buddy was dead.
wow. So she knew.
She knew, and
Wow.
I don't know, I've been told she orchestrated it, like she made
Well,
it
they
happen.
say that animals are like humans and they have a contract and they're here for a
Yes,
reason and a purpose. And
that was it.
what did you think after that happened, like about your thoughts and your, because I think it's called claircognizance when you have a knowing, because
Yes,
I have that. I just have this knowing and I always get the clairs mixed up. But I can't, sometimes I just can't explain it, but I know it. And
yes,
9 times out of 10, it's correct.
yeah. And it was much later that day that
Mm.
I thought, she told me that.
Mm.
And it sort of almost took my breath away. But I didn't act on it. It's
Wow.
coincidence.
Wow. Okay.
I know. I mean, now
We
I look
don't
back, and think,
listen.
well, that was just silly, wasn't it?
Just a fluky guess, right?
Yes, fancy that. And then it was 2018, probably early 2018. Another mare told me she was going to pass away. And she was pregnant at the time.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, please have your baby and like,
Mm.
please. Anyway, she gave birth in November 2018 and passed away.
How long
Basically,
after?
gave birth, she lay down, and we thought, okay, she's just having a little rest. We'll have a cup of tea and come back out. And yeah, she had
Oh,
died and not
wow,
moved.
Wendy. And you knew that. She knew that.
Yes.
Okay, so what happened that day when you saw that? That's twice now in less than
Yes.
2 years.
And then I'm like, you know what? I've got to do something with this. This is this is not a coincidence anymore.
No.
And then now, in fact, I don't even believe that there are coincidences. You know. So then, I looked for a course and I did a video course and it really, the lady is an amazing communicator, but it didn't teach me anything.
Mm.
So then I did one that it's actually a lady on the Sunshine Coast ran it, and it was over Zoom.
Yep.
And that was weekly sessions, I think, and weekly exercises, practice. The key is to practice
Like anything,
a
right?
lot,
Mm.
you know.
Repetitive,
Yeah,
consistent.
over and over
Yeah,
again.
repetition. Mm.
Yeah. And I did that for over 12 months.
Wow.
Then I was terrified because I couldn't tell people what I did.
Because you thought they'd think you were nuts.
Yes. Anyway, eventually I did. I put it out there on Facebook. It was like, oh, I used to just about shake every time I hit the send button.
Because it's so out there. People don't understand that there's this next side of life.
No, they don't. And there's another side to a lot of people that you
Mm.
don't hear about.
Absolutely. I'm finding
Mm.
that out on this journey.
Yeah. And anyway, so I put it out there and did, I think, 50 sessions, just free
Wow.
sessions. Send me a photo and your questions, and I did that.
Wow. And so you've been doing this full on now since 2018.
Well, that was when that started. I think my business is now about 6 years old.
Wow.
Mm.
I find it amazing that even, and I'll share this with the audience soon, but Wendy did a reading on my dog Max, and I didn't give her much information other than I just said, ask about his health. But I'll fill you in on all of that later because this lady was spot on, like seriously to something that happened years ago. So I will share that. But what sort of animals do you work with
Well, most of my
or connect with?
sessions, yeah, are, cats, dogs, and horses because that's what most people have.
Mm. Have you ever had to do birds or
Yes, I've
really?
done birds.
Yeah, wow.
Birds are interesting. I've done reptiles, snakes,
Wow.
and only pythons in the
Yeah,
snakes.
yeah.
Not so sure about connecting with the venomous snakes.
No,
You
no.
probably could. Um, Rabbits and guinea pigs, hamsters,
Wow.
and because I work from a photo, they can be anywhere.
Yeah.
I've connected with animals in America, New Zealand,
Wow.
Canada, the UK.
Unbelievable. So what type of issues or things do you help your client with? Like when you do the work, are you able to give information like the dog's behavior, issues, or what's their purpose or
Mm,
anything like that?
yeah, all those things. I often get people ask, they'll say, oh, there's something wrong with my dog, but the vet can't find anything. And well, I am definitely not a vet.
No. Yeah,
I
let's
am,
reaffirm that Wendy is not a vet, but she has a lot of connection with animals.
and I can say, well, I can test the different areas of the body and go, well, it's maybe the small intestine is not right, it's not balanced, there's something not quite working right, or, it could be the heart, could be the kidneys.
Is
And
that
just,
through energy? Is that through energy work?
yes, that's
Yeah.
all through energy.
Mm. Like Reiki.
Yeah, yeah, it's feeling the different energies in the body. And I'm doing this
I
because
know
that's
because
how I
that's what
do
you're
it.
used to.
Yeah, it's sort of you start at the head and you
Yeah.
work through the body and the different systems.
That is awesome. That's so amazing. Tell me a funny story. Tell me something that you were like just couldn't stop laughing.
There was a horse once that, he showed me himself standing on a bit of a rise and, the wind through his mane and he was really sort of striking a pose. And I thought, he's a bit vain. He looks like he's a bit vain because that's a bit unusual in animals.
Yeah.
And when I told his owner, she said, I call him Fabio sometimes. And
The
I
most
thought, oh, that
beautiful
is
man in
really
the
funny.
cosmos.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure there's been other funny ones. I've had, animals have so much wisdom,
They do, don't they? People have no
and
idea.
no, and they are showing their people things all the time. And I've had my animals show me things, and sometimes I haven't realized for years,
Mm.
that is what they were doing.
And what I loved about your reading on Max or your energy work on Max was you picked up something, and it's not always it's always bright and rosy. You've mentioned a few things I need to be aware of, and I love that because I actually recognise there's a few little things about Maxie, and I have always just thought, oh, I'm overprotective or I'm worried too much. But
Mm.
you
You're
reaffirmed,
imagining it. That's what you
yes,
tell yourself. Yeah.
100%. And
Mm.
you confirmed some things for me that I was like, okay, yep, I do need to watch out for that. But what are the usual reasons that people want to connect with you, be it Earthside or past?
Yeah, yeah. Earthside, it's often health or behavior.
Mm,
A dog that won't stop barking, or some dogs are aggressive, like to other people or even their owners.
mm,
A lot of anxious dogs, things like that. Every now and again, an elderly animal will sort of make a lot of noise and be very active in the night, which is often a little bit of dementia or something like
mm,
that.
yeah.
Not always, but sometimes.
Does a
Sometimes just
dog?
there'll be a strange behavior.
Yeah. Do you ever get, you know how they say with dogs and cats, actually you can probably confirm this, with a cat they say when a cat's ready to pass, it will often leave the home and or it will find somewhere and go and pass. But there's like a slow change in their behaviour and patterns before they pass. Are you able to pick that up in a cat?
Yes,
Does the
and
cat
I've
tell
even
you?
had, yeah, cats are very good. All animals, I can ask them if they are ready to pass.
Yes, that's the best. Yeah, that's
And
exactly the
that,
words.
a lot of people want to know that
Mm,
because
mm,
they're not sure, and it's natural
mm,
as the owner that you don't want them to pass.
mm.
But, often owners can see that the animal's struggling a bit or
Yeah, but it's
whatever.
such a heart thing, isn't it? It's the
It
emotion you're
is.
attached to this animal. You don't want to see them suffer, but you also don't want to be making that call in case. But
Yes.
I've found in my own experiences when I've had to put down 2 or 3 dogs and a cat in the last few years, and each time, oh, my heart was just
Mm.
aching. But looking at them, they couldn't suffer anymore.
Yeah.
But I think I spoke to you about this when we had our meeting. My daughter, she has 2 Rottweilers, and one of them is Max's brother. But the other one was a rescue Rottie, so he was always very anxious, and they couldn't get him to a vet. He was just so stressed, and they used to have to sedate him and everything, so they could never get him checked. But they knew something was wrong with him, and they just kept nurturing the best they could at home. And she rang me one morning and said, "Mum, his name was Lincoln." She goes, "I think Lincoln's dying." And it just broke our heart because he was such a
Mm.
beautiful dog. But he was a trauma dog. He was in a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
They found him in a drug raid, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
there was 8 puppies I think, and they were all malnourished and very very traumatized. So they gave him 7 beautiful years, right?
Mm.
But the day that this all happened, and this was a build up, he just couldn't walk anymore. He couldn't get up, and they were beside themselves. And this was an indicator of how ready he was. At the end of the day, I said, "See if the vet can come to the house." And they said, "Oh, we can come and euthanize, but not for 2 days." I said, "You can't leave this dog like this for 2 days.
Mm.
That's cruel." And they thought the same. And they took him to the vet, and he walked in.
Mm. Yeah,
He
so he
knew.
knew
He
and he
knew.
was ready.
Yes,
Mm.
and that's what I said to them. Like, you've actually gifted him this piece, and that actually helped them to know that he wasn't stressed. And when
Yes.
I connected with you, I was like, this is the kind of thing they could have had to help
Yes.
them. Hey, he's ready. He was probably ready months before, but they held off. I
Yeah.
don't want to do it. Oh, he's still walking. Oh, he's up again.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Hey,
that's
look, I've
where,
been there.
yes. And that's where I think connecting with someone like yourself, you could give a little bit of an insight as to what's possibly going on in the animal, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And
Wow.
they'll if they're ready, they will say that they're ready because
Yeah.
they're not afraid of death.
No,
They people, most people don't want
absolutely.
to die, but to an animal, it's just a natural
Well, that was their
procession.
soul's mission to come, do what they had to do. Then they come
Yeah.
back as something else or another animal or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
And
it.
I know people go, "Oh, that's crazy." It's not. That's
It's
how our
not
souls
crazy.
work.
Mm,
So
it
what
is.
does your healing work involve? What do you do? Like when you
Um,
get a picture, what's your
yeah.
process?
And then from the owner, what they want to work on,
Mm.
basically. If they think there's a health issue, or sometimes, the energy healing can help with behavior as well. I did work on a racehorse once and I got her through her barrier trials
Wow.
and she raced a couple of times, I think. Yeah, but anyway, and that was through energy healing.
That's amazing.
And it can be quite, sometimes the owner thinks, oh no, I can't see any change. And other times it was this particular horse. The
Mm.
woman said, what have you done to her? She's just standing at the back of her yard and not
Wow.
coming out.
Isn't that amazing?
And, she was just processing it.
How does
It's
that
like
make you
if,
feel knowing you have such an impact on an animals because they don't have a voice?
no, they don't.
They can't tell us. And yes, we'd like to think we can read them and you look them in the eyes and you just talk to them, but we don't have that ability that you've got. Like how does that make you feel?
No, I love it. And I love that I can help the animals and that by helping them, I'm helping the people.
Oh, 100%.
And,
Like,
they can have such a better relationship because of
mm,
it and
mm,
understand each other,
yeah.
because it's quite a two-sided thing because sometimes the animal tells me something about the owner.
Isn't that interesting? And whilst
Mm,
we're sitting here, this is hilarious. I've got Max sniffing at the door, waiting. He's just
yeah.
sitting here waiting. But like what I want to share is I gave Wendy a picture a few days ago of Max because I was umming and ahhing whether to do my beautiful puppies that have passed or Max. But I sort of thought there's a few things I wanted to know about Max. Wendy has confirmed without even knowing that Max has definitely been given to me as a trauma dog. Now, when I received Max, this was the interesting thing. I wasn't meant to have Max. So my daughter had got Max's brother, Odin. There was no dogs left. And this one day, the breeder of these Rottweilers rang my daughter and said, "Hey, is your mum still interested in a dog?" And Britt's like, "Yes, of course." He said, "Well, the people that were going to get Max can't afford him now. So Max is your mum's." Well, at the time, I lived at the gym and I was in doing classes and I didn't have my phone and there was like 15 missed calls. And she's like, "Well, you didn't answer, so I made the call for you. You're getting a dog."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God." So Max was the pick of the litter. He was the biggest. And mind you, he's the softest, I reckon. and um, I got Max. Like I wasn't meant to have Max. But then Max, as Wendy has given me my transcript of what Max is to me, he is my trauma dog. He's here for emotional support. She's also mentioned that when I am heavy with what had been going on for me and things through the years, it has affected Max's health. And that for me, I needed to know because I know that dogs take on an owner's energy.
Mm.
So now I'm really aware that that's real because Wendy didn't know that what was Max was doing whilst I was unwell at times over the years. The other thing too is I did make a joke and said to Wendy, "Can you ask him if he's likes his pajamas that I put on him at night because sometimes it's a bit cool?" And she answered it in a funny way and it was like, "Yeah, he loves it, but don't tell anyone basically because I'm too
Yeah.
cool for pajamas."
Yeah.
The other thing, Max was around when there was a lot of depression and my PTSD and complex PTSD was at one of its highest levels. And even though I'd passed the stage of wanting to not be here anymore, there were still days where I just wanted to give up. And Wendy mentioned that in this transcript. Now, Wendy didn't know me and didn't know that. So that's what Max has basically told her. Max is also, and for everyone that knows me and Max, he has a lot of gut issues. Now, Wendy picked up pretty much how Max's routine was. And it is, he goes really great. And then there'll be a few days where he just looks at me and says, "Mum, give me some bland food," which is when I give him chicken and rice. Now,
Mm.
I don't know that until he just goes off his food, he's lethargic, he just doesn't want to play. The other thing that Wendy brought up, and this was what got me, a few years ago, I used to play with Max and a plastic bottle all the time until somebody told me, "Oh, don't do that. The plastic will get in his stomach and rah-rah-rah." Max has asked her, "Can we play with the bottle again?" Now, Wendy had no clue that that was one of his favourite toys. So this, he is communicating. He is telling her. He's also a
Definitely
little
is.
bit stressed at times because he carries a lot of what I carry. She mentioned that he gets heaviness in his shoulders, and that's an and that's an energy thing. She also asked Max, and I'm going to read this because this just melted my heart. When I asked Max if he had anything else to share, he told me that he loves you very much and that he is so proud of you. He is proud to be your friend and support. He also said that he isn't finished with you yet and feels like there may come again after this life with me again. So that will be interesting, right?
Mm.
Now, Wendy seems to think that Max has said there's going to be something else that goes on between the two of us where we're going to have to really bond. Now, why I like that is because that to me is authentic. Wendy's giving me all the information that I need. And so if something does happen, I'm aware that Max is aware. And that really what's the word? That gave me comfort. That gave me comfort to think he's already aware that something possibly may happen. And I say that with a real ease, because I don't want to go, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's like, okay, good. Max and I are on the same page. We're very much aligned in everything happens for a reason. We're here for a purpose. He and I have a beautiful connection, and what you gave me was an even nicer connection with Max. And I want to thank you for that, Wendy, because people don't understand. I know there's a lot of people out there that absolutely adore their animals, and there's people out there that think it's crazy, but for the ones that do, it's a really beautiful way to connect with your animal and understand a little bit more about them. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experience here with everybody in my community and on the podcast. And can you just let everybody know where they can find you? I will be putting your links and website in the podcast, but for everybody that wants to connect with you, say today, tomorrow, where can they find you?
Okay, thanks, Tash, and thank you so much for the feedback, because it's always good to hear what people think. You know, sometimes people question things I've said and then go 2 months later, they're like, oh, I know now what you meant. But, you know, it's always nice to hear back from my clients.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone wants to get in touch with me, I do have a Facebook page, Wendy J Animal Connections. And I have a website, www.wendyjanimalconnections.com.au.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Wendy, from the bottom of my heart for sharing this with us today and taking your time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're very, very busy. And I will look forward to staying connected with you. And I want to thank your son for putting us back together. Yes. It was Dougie, wasn't it? Dougie.
Doug, yes.
Doug, yeah. For anyone on the Sunshine Coast, he's an amazing electrician. So get him out there as well. But thank you, Wendy. And thank you for being there for us and sharing this. And everybody that's listened in today, I hope you got something from this. And like we said, Wendy's there to be connected with. If you want to ask her any questions, I will put the links into the podcast and you can reach out. So until then, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tash.
Thank you.